to the entertaining Talkin' Sports.
What is going on, football fans? Back at it with another football video. And in this video, we're going to talk about head coaching candidate Ron Rivera and some of the rumors that have surfaced today about him potentially joining the Redskins. And it seems like a potential foregone conclusion. And to be honest with you, I'm a bit surprised. You know, I've been on record of saying I am a huge Ron Rivera fan if the New York Giants do, in fact, decide to move on from Coach Shurmur, who, a lot of Giants fans think will happen. We won't know until Monday. But he would have been, if not my number one, my number two choice. Him and Matt Rule are at the top of my list. And some rumors have surfaced, I think, today about Matt Rule. I haven't had a chance to check into that. And the Giants potentially showing some interest. I think the only way that would happen, you'd have to move on from Gettleman. By all accounts, Matt Rule wants near full say in personnel decisions. And we all know Dave Gettleman won't allow that. So we'd have to see if the Giants were willing to do that. But when it comes to Ron Rivera, a very accomplished head coach, as I've said many times. 13 games over 500 for his career. Led the Carolina Panthers to a Super Bowl. In 9 seasons, some people point to the fact that I think he only had 3 or 4 winning seasons. But when you really look at it, first 2 years, it was a bad football team. The Panthers were patient. And then they had a 5-year stretch there where they were in the playoffs 4 times. And they had a 15-1 season and a Super Bowl appearance. The last 2 years, people forget the Panthers were 6-2 before Newton went down. Newton got hurt, and then this year Newton's been hurt all year. They've had a guy who should be a second or third string quarterback playing the position. So I actually think the Panthers this year have probably met expectations when you factor that in. I think Ron Rivera is a very good head coach, a disciplinarian, the type of guy that New York Giants fans would really want to bring in here. But from all accounts, from what I've read and the quote I'm about to bring up from Ian Rappaport, it sounds like Ron Rivera might be headed to the Washington Redskins. And I'm a bit surprised, being that he is probably the most accomplished head coach out on the open market. And, the Dallas Cowboys are a team that has a much better roster at this point in time. And the Giants historically are a better job, at least in recent times. But maybe he fell in love with the Redskins job. Maybe he feels like it's the best fit for him. But here's what Ian Rappaport had to say about the situation with the Redskins and Coach Ron Rivera. Former Panthers coach Ron Rivera has emerged as a top coaching candidate and has told people he expects a deal to come together quickly, sources say. It could even be 24 hours after Week 17 ends. The Redskins have interest, though other teams without openings yet are also circling. This was also, all throughout the news. It's being reported by, several media sources. Now, if you read that tweet, he doesn't specifically say the Redskins. He says that he thinks a deal could potentially be done in the next 24 hours. But when you look at it, the Cowboys right now don't have a coaching vacancy. The Giants right now don't have a coaching vacancy. The Panthers do. That's the team he was fired from. The Jaguars, by all accounts, don't have a coaching vacancy. The Falcons don't have a coaching vacancy. So, to me, that reads that he expects that there's a very good chance that he will be coaching the Redskins. Now, the Redskins, when you look at it, they got a young quarterback in Dwayne Haskins who showed some promise later in the year, a guy that I think has some upside. But they have a lot to work on the offensive line. They're going to hope, not hopefully, but, if you're a Redskin fan, hopefully, have this second overall pick and land Chase Young. So that may be, an attractive feature for Ron Rivera. He may be looking at that, and he might really like Dwayne Haskins. Like I said, I'm surprised, and it's just one more coaching candidate if the Giants move on who will not be available if these reports are true. There's still a ton of good guys out there, Matt Rule being one. A lot of people like Greg Roman. You got a lot of guys. McCarthy, there's a lot of guys out there, but Ron Rivera, who's probably the biggest name out there in the open market, is at least rumored to be potentially headed to the Washington Redskins. And I think that would be a great hire for that football team. It sucks that they're in our division, and, they're going to have a bright future. I like what they did last year. I think Montez Sweat's going to be a good pass rusher for them. And if you pair him with a Chase Young and Haskins takes that next step next year, if the Redskins are patient, much like the Panthers were early on in Ron Rivera's career, I could see them being a very good football team in the next 2 years or so. People forget that the Redskins just last year, I think, were 6-2 and in first place in the NFC East before Alex Smith went down. So they definitely have some decent pieces in the trenches over there. They got to improve the offensive line, but Chase Young, like I said, will help them a lot, and that's probably what Ron Rivera is looking at. I'm still a little surprised. Dan Snyder's not known as the best owner. If I'm Rivera, I'm a little more picky, I'm a little more choosy, and I wait till all the coaching vacancies open up, and then I make my decision. But maybe he doesn't want to wait. Maybe he wants to take the first opportunity that comes his way, or maybe he thinks that the Redskins have a very bright future. Chase Young might have, altered his decision. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see if these rumors are true, but it sounds as if Ron Rivera could very well be a Washington Redskin very soon. As always, if you liked what you watched, please subscribe, drop a comment, maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.